All right, let's dive into what might be one of the biggest paradoxes of our time. China's jaw-dropping economic rise, which is happening at the very same moment its population is actually shrinking.
And we're not just talking about a small dip either. I mean, think about this. Over the past 3 years alone, China has lost a record 4 million residents. That's a huge number. You know, to really put that in perspective, this is a massive historical turning point. For the first time in 300 years, China is no longer the most populous nation on the planet. Just wow.
So, this brings us to the central question we're tackling today. How in the world is a shrinking nation taking over the global economy? I mean, it just doesn't seem to make any sense, right? It defies all logic. And make no mistake, this dominance is very real. We're talking about a country that builds a third of all cars, a quarter of all microprocessors, and half of all textiles on Earth. I mean, from steel and solar panels to the phone in your pocket, seriously, if you don't own something made in China, are you even from this planet?
So, the question is, how? How do they pull this off? Let's get into how China went from making simple toys to becoming a high-tech titan.
You know, what's really mind-blowing is the speed of this change. I mean, just 25 years ago, made in China meant t-shirts, plastic toys, DVD players. But today, it means Huawei 5G, BYD electric cars, DJI drones. That leap in quality and complexity, it's just staggering.
Okay, a massive piece of this puzzle is something called an economic superregion, like the Pearl River Delta. Now, this isn't just one city, it's an entire ecosystem. You've got Hong Kong as the money hub, pumping in investment. You have Shenzhen, which is basically Asia's Silicon Valley. Then there's Dongguan, where they build 1/5 of all the smartphones in the world. And Guangzhou, which hosts the famous Canton Fair, where you can buy literally anything.
But here's the really crucial part. As powerful as that one region is, it's only 10% of China's entire economy. Now compare that to other big countries. London, that's 23% of the UK's GDP. Paris, 30% of France's. Buenos Aires is a massive 41% of Argentina's economy. So you see, China's power isn't all in one basket. It's spread out across several of these huge hubs.
So, what's the recipe for all this? Well, to really get it, we have to look back at China's history, a period they call the Century of Humiliation, and the totally unique economic model that came out of it. Okay, for most of history, basically every society was stuck in something called the Malthusian trap. It's a pretty simple idea, really. When things are good, the population grows. But pretty soon you have more people than you have food. And that leads to famine or war, which, well, it brings the population back down. It's this brutal, vicious cycle that humanity was stuck in for centuries. And this is where we see this huge split back in the 19th century. Great Britain busts out of that trap with the Industrial Revolution. New tech meant one person could produce way more, so people flooded into the cities. But China? They completely missed this revolution. Their population grew, but their farms got smaller, and people actually started leaving the cities. They were going in opposite directions.
And that technology gap, it left China incredibly vulnerable. This led to what's now known as the Century of Humiliation, where foreign powers just came in and carved up the country. So ever since 1949, pretty much the #1 national goal has been to reverse that humiliation and reclaim their spot as a global leader. It's a powerful motivator.
And the result of that powerful drive? It has completely redrawn the global trade map. It's like the entire economic center of the world has shifted.
Just think back to the year 2000. It wasn't that long ago, right? The world was totally US-centric. For almost every country out there, the USA was their #1 trading partner. America was, without a doubt, the center of the economic universe.
Okay, now let's look at the world today. The map is almost the complete opposite. For a huge majority of countries, we're talking Asia, Africa, Europe, even South America, their main economic partner is now China. The center of gravity has shifted. Big time.
And you can see this shift so clearly when you look at the trade between the US and China. Americans buy about $500 billion worth of stuff from China every year, but China only buys about $167 billion from the US. So, put simply, for every dollar of goods America sells to China, it buys $3 worth back. It's a massive imbalance.
And this economic power, it directly translates into diplomatic influence, what people call soft power. So it's probably no surprise that today, China actually has more embassies and consulates around the world than any other country. Yep, even more than the United States.
Which brings us right back to where we started, to that big paradox. We've seen how this incredible economic engine was built. But the question is, can it keep running at this insane speed? Or is that shrinking population finally going to catch up with it?
You know, China's success really comes down to this unique mix of three things. First, you've got strong government institutions that create stability and educate everyone. Second, you have just insane amounts of investment in infrastructure, which makes moving stuff around super cheap and easy. And third, you have this incredibly competitive market with tons of companies all fighting it out. It's this weird hybrid model that's so powerful. The long-term vision of a planned economy mixed with the brutal efficiency of a market economy.
You know, there's a saying that floats around in the manufacturing world that just nails it. It goes, in India, you can get it done cheap, but maybe not well. In Germany, you can get it done perfectly, but it'll cost you. In China, you can get it done exactly how you need it. And that flexibility, right there, that's their secret weapon.
Okay, here's a really interesting, kind of surprising theory about another one of China's advantages, information density. Look at this text. The English and Chinese versions say the exact same thing. But because of how the Chinese language works, you can read and understand it about 20% faster. Now, in a world where speed is everything, you can imagine how that small edge, multiplied over millions of emails and meetings, could actually make a real difference.
But look, none of that changes the basic math. A shrinking population means fewer people to work in the factories and fewer people at home to buy all the stuff they make. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest challenge they're facing.
There's this fantastic metaphor from a Nobel-winning economist. He said a free market economy is like a ship with huge sails but no rudder. It moves really fast, but you have no idea where it's going. It could crash. On the other hand, a planned economy is like a ship with a giant rudder but no sails. You can steer it perfectly, but it's not going anywhere.
So, what did China do? It's like they pulled off the impossible. They kept the big rudder of state control, giving them direction, but then they strapped on the world's most powerful engines, the engines of market competition. The result is a ship that's moving faster and with more purpose than anyone ever thought was possible. Which leaves us with the biggest question of the 21st century. Where exactly are they steering it?